Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Today's rundown's going out to DM, who has been a big fan of ours for a very long time, calls me one of the hardest working people out there. I'm going to say Blake is. But let's get started with DM's rundown. We finally know when the new Spider-Man game will come swinging into our lives. Insomniac Games has announced that their long-awaited Spidey game will finally land worldwide on September 7th. It will be available exclusively on the PS4 and will come in 3 different versions: a regular edition, a deluxe digital edition with extra skins, gadgets, and 3 post-launch story chapters, and finally, a physical collector's edition that includes all the same content as well as an art book and statue. The post-launch story chapters are called The City That Never Sleeps and will see Spider-Man take on extra missions where he encounters new friends and foes. The new Spider-Man game has been a long time coming. It was first announced at E3 2016 and was originally expected to come out last year before being pushed back. Insomniac's goal is to create fluid swinging and parkour action that blends together seamlessly with fast-paced combat and stealth, and judging by the footage that's been released so far, it looks like they've pulled it off. Spider-Man already has a long and proud history of great games, and this could be one of the best yet. September 7th can't get here soon enough.
I got this.
We're still waiting to find out if Ready Player One will get a sequel, but something similar is already on the way. With the new Steven Spielberg movie exceeding expectations at the box office, Hollywood is working on a big screen adaptation of another novel from Ready Player One author Ernest Cline. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Universal Pictures is moving forward with a film based on Cline's 2015 novel Armada, with the script being adapted by screenwriter Dan Mazeau, who previously worked on 2012's Wrath of the Titans and DC's upcoming Flash movie. Like Ready Player One, Armada is steeped in video games and pop culture. It focuses on a young pro gamer who discovers that his favorite flight combat game is secretly made by the government to prepare him to fight off a real-life alien invasion. Universal actually picked up the film rights to the book before it was published, and now that the Ready Player One movie is a hit, they're fast-tracking the adaptation. No release window yet for Armada, but don't be surprised if it hits theaters in the next few years. As for Ready Player One, Ernie Cline has previously stated that he's writing a sequel novel and is even using ideas that he bounced off Steven Spielberg when they made the movie. It's unclear when the book might arrive or if it will get turned into a movie, but expect more details soon. Battlegrounds players on smartphones and consoles won't have an unfair disadvantage for much longer. Battlegrounds developer Bluehole has announced that they plan to disable mouse and keyboard controls in the Xbox One and mobile versions of the game. Right now, mouse and keyboards aren't officially available in those versions, but there are third-party apps that allow them to be used by some players, which obviously gives those players an unfair advantage given the extra accuracy and precision of mouse and keyboard inputs compared to console controllers or mobile touchscreens. Writing on Twitter, PUBG community coordinator Dan Robodangel says that they're working on ways to disable these third-party apps, and players should expect a fix soon. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. The PC version of Battlegrounds has had a huge problem with cheaters, many of whom were exploiting third-party apps in order to hack the game. The Xbox One version of Battlegrounds landed late last year, and the mobile version rolled out on iOS and Android devices in North America just last month. The makers of the fishy Oscar-winning movie The Shape of Water are diving in for more. The film's director, Guillermo del Toro, has just inked a deal with distributor Fox Searchlight to create a string of new films in the horror, sci-fi, and fantasy genres. That means they're going to be similar in tone and style to The Shape of Water, with del Toro serving as producer on all of them, and he'll also write and direct some of them himself. The first project is a supernatural thriller called Antlers, produced by del Toro and directed by filmmaker Scott Cooper, who previously held the crime drama Black Mass. Fox Searchlight hasn't revealed what the first new project directed by del Toro will be, but it's no surprise that they want more. The Shape of Water swept the Academy Awards, winning Best Picture and Best Director. All the new movies from del Toro and Fox Searchlight will be released under a new distribution subsidiary that has yet to be given a name. Fox Searchlight is itself a subsidiary of 20th Century Fox, which is in the process of being acquired by Disney. Disney CEO Bob Iger says that they plan to let Fox Searchlight continue to operate with the same degree of creative freedom that they have now once the acquisition is complete. After months of turmoil and a near death, the bald assassin Agent 47 is now safe and secure. Hitman developer IO Interactive has inked a deal with Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment to publish upcoming games in the Killer franchise. This is good news for the future of the series. IO Interactive recently became an independent studio after being dropped by their former parent company, Square Enix, but thankfully Square Enix let them keep the rights to the Hitman series. Now that IO has inked a publishing deal with Warner Bros., it means that they have the backing of a big company and the security they need in order to proceed with new Hitman projects. IO CEO Hakan Abrak points out that working with a partner like Warner Warner Brothers means that they can stay focused on what they're good at, making games. As part of the new deal, the first Hitman title to be published by Warner Brothers will be a new definitive edition of the 2016 Hitman game, which will include all its episodes and post-launch content, as well as new character costumes. Looking ahead, IO has stated that they're working on an all-new Hitman game, although they haven't said when it might arrive. Speaking of big publishing deals, the makers of The Walking Dead are getting into the games business. Skybound Entertainment, the comic publishing label founded by The Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman, has announced that they've created a game publishing arm called, what else? Skybound Games. Their goal is to help publish smaller, more indie-centric games that might not get the backing of the big publishers. Their first project will be to publish a retail version of the first-person survival game, The Long Dark, created by Canadian indie developer Hinterland Studio. The Long Dark was actually first released in an early alpha version through Steam Early Access back in 2014, and last year, Hinterland began releasing episodic story chapters on the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The new retail version being published by Skybound will consolidate everything, including all the story chapters and the open-ended sandbox survival mode, where players can explore the game's wintry setting without any story constraints. That arrives in September. Despite a very public split with Konami, it looks like Metal Gear creator Hideo Kojima is still involved with the franchise. Sort of. It appears that Kojima is giving his input on the upcoming Metal Gear Solid movie. The film's director, Jordan Vogt-Roberts, who last directed Kong Skull Island, has tweeted this screenshot of himself having a video chat with Kojima, adding the caption that they're scheming on something. He didn't say what exactly they're scheming about, but it seems pretty obvious that it would be the Metal Gear Solid movie, given that Roberts has been developing the film for several years. The movie is set to be distributed by Sony Pictures, which seems appropriate given the franchise's history on the PlayStation, and publisher Konami is also involved. That's why Kojima's involvement comes as a bit of a surprise. Kojima and Konami had a very public falling out after the release of Metal Gear Solid 5, with Kojima leaving Konami to create his own studio, and Konami releasing the critically panned Metal Gear Survive with no input from Kojima. The fact that he's involved now should give the film adaptation that much more credibility with fans. No release window yet for the movie.
Thank you, boss.
That wraps us up for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. EP Live returns tomorrow, so make sure you come back for that. In the meantime, click around, watch some of the other content that we've been making, and if you dig it, hit subscribe, that little bell, and if you're so inclined, that sponsorship button too.